happy Vlogmas day. I think this is 10. So I am like I started to do my Christmas tree and then I ran out of ornaments and I didn't like the pattern. So I'm going to redo my tree and talk to you guys about my thoughts on Deion Sanders. And the reason why is because I literally made a video last year. No, it was actually like 6 months ago about quitting teaching and the gaslighting that happens when you quit a job as a Black person that people think, you know, you should have. And I was talking about this with one of my old coworkers also, who was also a teacher, and she's Black, and it's like, you know, there's almost this expectation that you have to stay in these areas where, you know, we are. And unfortunately, traditionally, that means that you're not going to get paid and you're going to be working overtime. And it's an interesting reaction. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that. I don't know much about Deion Sanders other than his football career. So I don't know his personal life. I don't know what his character is. He references the Lord, but I mean, a lot of people reference the Lord, and that doesn't mean that they are necessarily believers. But anywho, the first thing I want to say is that I think it's great that he went to Jackson State and essentially changed the entire culture of the football program. I think that's amazing. And I think that's probably what's needed in a lot of the programs, even in schools. Like, I'm just going to make a lot of parallels to schools. Like, even in schools that are predominantly Black, like elementary and middle schools, that's super essential. Like, I think changing the culture is underrated. And, you know, we love a good hope. We love a good, you know, savior, right? And in a lot of ways, Deion Sanders came into Jackson State and was a savior. And I think it was great for the students and for the community to see that you know, what's possible for those students when someone just has a little bit of money and a whole lot of hope. Because that's oftentimes what's missing for a lot of people too, is just like the hope that things could be different, right? A lot of people are living in despair. And same thing with the children that we work with, right? There's a lot of this, like, almost like, you know, why should I go to school? Why should I get an education? Like, what's the point? I'm relegated to, you know, my neighborhood, or I'm relegated to this lifestyle. And, you know, if you're an educator, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so with Deion Sanders, I hope you guys can see me. I'm just over here doing this. With Deion Sanders, I think it was great for him to like give some hope to the students and the community. And I think what he did was remarkable, but it's not impossible to replicate. And sometimes we think that, like, you know, yes, he donated half of his salary to the assistant coaches, right? He brought in sponsors that no one else could bring in technically, but he did give a blueprint for how to turn around some of these schools. And so I think he did a lot of good. You guys give me 1 second while I find a pair of scissors. And just to parallel that, you guys, like when we would go into schools and they'd be like these underprivileged, predominantly Black schools, you know, low test scores, and we would come in and we would just like completely revamp the program, completely change everything around. I will tell you that it's a lot of emotional labor and it's a lot of physical labor. And like I said this in my video, the one about teaching, is that if you look at like the stand and delivers, the freedom writing teachers, like nobody stays there longer than a few years, because that model, yes, it works, but it's unsustainable. And I think like, I feel like we want Band-Aids, and like, we want Band-Aids for some of this stuff, and we don't want true change. Like, the truth is that Deion Sanders could have only done so much. Like, we need to get to the point where the base of the whole school system is different, and like the community is different, so that when a Deion Sanders comes in, the changes stick, right? And so, like, to relate this back to the classroom, you know, a teacher can come in and like be amazing, right? But if the fundamental community does not change, the community of the school, the community of the, like, the outside community doesn't change, then what this teacher does dies with him or her. And I think that's why people were so emotional about him leaving, because deep down inside, we know we haven't really, like, this is more of a Band-Aid than it is a, like, solution, right? It's a Band-Aid because it's Deion, it's prime time, you know, and he's a different kind of character. Do I believe that other people can do what he did? 500%. I actually do. And I think, which leads me to my second point, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I do think that he like, I think there's other people who can do what he did. He gave a blueprint. One thing that was really frustrating for me when I was leaving, oh my gosh, you're leaving your people, was it was almost like you don't deserve to be anywhere else. Like, this is where you belong, and you shouldn't strive to be anything other than like a teacher in a low income area, because you belong in the dumps helping your people. And a lot of times, like, that's a subliminal message that's given to people when they leave a neighborhood. And actually, quiet as it's kept, y'all, like, that's a reason why a lot of black people stay where they're at, because there's this pressure from other black people, and quite frankly, non-black people too, that like, you need to stay with your community, you need to help your community. And so people end up staying in environments that are not conducive to growth. Like, Deion Sanders is a phenomenal coach, and the opportunity to coach in a Pac-12 school, even though it's the worst in the Pac-12, let's just keep it a buck, is an opportunity for growth. And he's going to become a better coach in that regard. And let me relate this back to the hood, right? A lot of people will stay in the hood because there's this pressure, like, don't leave, you're leaving us, you know, you're gentrifying kind of thing. And it's like, well, like, this area is not conducive to my growth. And, you know, so a lot of people feel obligated, and they feel relegated to, you know, areas where it's predominantly black, or they feel like this false sense of debt to a community. And we have to remember that no one else in the world is expected to like stay where they're at. You know what I'm saying? No other group of people are expected to like just stay in poverty and help their people. Nobody else. Black people though, y'all gotta stay where y'all at though. Like, you guys have to stay in the ghetto because that's what you need to do. And so I think we're just seeing like a reflection of Deion Sanders is a microcosm, the situation of the larger community, where, you know, there is this sort of like this expectation that you will stay. Like, how dare you go and do something better? And I get it. I get that they feel like, oh, he betrayed us, but it's like, he never owed you anything in the first place. Like, that's the real tea, you know? That man didn't owe you nothing. He just didn't. And he did a huge, not only did he do his duty, he went above and beyond. And like, let me relate this back to teaching, right? We would get paid $40,000 a year. And we would be working that school up and down 12 hours a day, getting yelled at by these parents, being told we didn't know what we were doing, you know, sacrificing for these children. And then when you leave, it's like, oh, you're leaving us. It's like, no, I actually gave you double what I was paid for. And I'm allowed to now go work at a school somewhere where I'm going to get paid six figures for six-figure labor. Like, because that's what I was doing, you know? And so I think it's just hard, I think, because I see this from a lens of, unfortunately, it's a model of, it just keeps black people where they're at. Like, it bothers me because I know what it's like to work really, really hard for your community and to give and give and give. And then people be like, well, why are you leaving? And it's like, well, a lot of times these communities are underfunded and under-resourced, and they require an extraordinary amount of not only money, but like emotional time, energy, and effort. And then to expect like I said, we love a good hero, right? And then we expect this superhuman ability. Like, I can tell you right now, Primetime was tired. Like, I was tired. He's tired because it does require an extra level of effort. Because you guys, I talk about this when I talk about the fitness journey, right? When you start a fitness journey, you have to like 10x your old energy. So if my old energy was like, oh, sleep on the couch, all day, don't exercise, drink a ton of sodas, then I have to 10x in the opposite direction, which means I have to put forth 10 times the amount of effort in the opposite direction. And the same thing goes when you're like changing a community, like a team. I've done this before. You guys know I'm a coach. I've done community change for teams. And the amount of emotional energy and effort you have to put in for this to happen, it's super rewarding. Like, I won my the school's first ever championship as a coach. It's super rewarding, but I was dead dog tired at the end. Dead dog tired. Like, it was almost, it was so unbearable. And I had a full staff of coaches that year, and we just worked tirelessly. And I just don't know. I can see how he's tired because, often these like schools and stuff require a ton of effort. And there's like this expectation that you will do so for pennies, and I don't blame Jackson State for not having money. And I think they're very lucky that, that Deion has money, because Deion doesn't require them to pay. He was like, I don't really need this money kind of thing. Right. And which is great, because that means that money can go to someone who actually needs it. So I think we have to be very mindful of like, what message are we sending to children? What message are we sending to the community? What message are we sending to people who do not look like us? When we say, you have to stay at a Black school because you're Black. You have to stay in a downtrodden neighborhood because you're Black. The messages you're sending is that you actually don't deserve anything better. And here's what I'm not gonna do. Like, what I'm not gonna do is relegate myself to niggatry so that I can be Black. Or like, so I can keep my Black card. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not gonna do it. So, and you guys know me because I gave up that card a long time ago, and it served me very well. Because it's very much a crabs in the bucket mentality, where it's like, you can't do this or you're not Black. That's what Joe Biden said. He told Black people they weren't Black if they, like, that's very much overseer language, right? So like, we have to be careful about what we relegate Black people to in the name of, equality, I guess. It doesn't make sense. So I wish Deion the best. I hope that he does well at Colorado State. I hope he can replicate, or University of Colorado. I hope he can replicate what he's done. I think that would be amazing. Because, yeah, I think I love to see a coach. There's not very many D1 coaches who are Black. And so it would be nice to see him, succeed like a big league coach. I hope and want that for him, for sure. And I think people should want that for him as well. Instead of, because it's very much a Black thing to be like, oh, you left us. Like, that's what people say when, like, I'm about to tell some tea right now, you guys. I know people in families who, when certain family members decided to up and leave and no longer live the lifestyle, it was, you think you're better than us. You think that you're white, XYZ. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a hot minute. We can't be better. We gotta be white to be like successful, like to be law-abiding citizens. Couldn't be me. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so wild. But I know people who have experienced that. So we have to be careful about like what we relegate Black folks to in the name of, loyalty to the community. Do you see? So the second thing I want to say is Deion Sanders left y'all with a blueprint. And what I actually believe is that he is trying to franchise. And I don't mean him. he has a model, he has a plan that works. I don't think everybody has the capital that Deion has, but the blueprint can be done on a smaller scale. And so I think we have to like look at this and go, well, what did he do and how can we replicate this in other places instead of waiting for a great white hope to come along or another great black hope to come along and save us. And this is like emblematic of the community, because we love a good white hope and we love a good black hope, but we don't want to like replicate the process ourselves. And I really what I want more than anything is for like HBCUs to look at this process and go, okay, maybe we don't have $2 million to give to Walmart, but what was the message that Deion was sending? How can we replicate that? How can we create a community like schools that actually repeat this process? Like, what about that, you know? And I think that Deion has a blueprint that people need to look into and franchise that model, really, and put it into schools. And actually, now that I'm talking out loud, Deion has a playbook that schools should be wanting to purchase, and not even a football playbook. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a playbook for how to create a culture change. And of course, nobody is Deion, right? He's special. But there are some things that you can implement that do not require you to be Deion. And if people were smart, and if people, instead of being like, that man betrayed us because he went to a white school or whatever, they could be like, okay, give us the blueprint, like, and we'll do it. And I think that's the productive mentality to have, because some of y'all would leave your job for a $5 raise. So why are you acting like getting, you know, you guys would leave your job right now for a $5 raise, and this man is getting paid multiples on multiples of what he was getting paid at Jackson State. Like, stop the madness. Like, it's so funny how we sit from our moral high chairs and try and tell folks what to do. Like, it cracks me up in terms of like what they should be doing with their money. Because look, if somebody gave me a $4.8 million raise, listen, it's been a pleasure and a blessing. Here's my playbook. Here's what I did. Call me if you have any questions. I'm here for you. I'll see y'all on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And I hope and I want and I pray for that to happen. I think that he has a model that works. And if we can just humble ourselves for 2.5 seconds, we can probably replicate this in other schools to a degree. So I really think the Deion Sanders model should be franchised, and whoever takes this idea owes me 10%. I really think his model should be franchised and put into schools everywhere, high schools, you know, colleges, community colleges. Take that culture and replicate it. I think, unfortunately, one thing that we don't currently like promote in the community is like a business model of things. We kind of look for like one person to be our guide and savior and hero, instead of thinking like, okay, thinking more community based, which is like, so many of us can do this. Like, let's you know, try and replicate this. That, I think, is a more productive way to view this situation. So those are my thoughts on Deion Sanders. Like, I think we need to really step back and ask ourselves, what message are we sending when we tell someone that they can't move on and move up, and we gaslight them and tell them they're not black if they don't do something, or we gaslight them and tell them that they have to be, you know, in a certain neighborhood because that's where they should be, and that's where what you should be doing. I work for Massa, and Massa told me that you belong on this plantation. How dare you try and run away? Like, couldn't be me. Y'all know, could not be me. Couldn't be me. You guys already know how I get down, right? Can't nobody tell me nothing. Is that how that song goes? But that's truly the sentiment. Like, we have to look at this from a psychological perspective, and not just like, we're so emotional sometimes. And it's like, we have to think about this beyond Deion Sanders. and beyond this football team? Like, what message are we sending to the community? Hey, and to other people, non-Black people. Oh no, Black people don't want their counterparts to succeed. They want them to stay in the hood. How dare you get better? You know what I'm saying? And I told you guys, this happens in education all the time. You know, a lot of people ask, well, why is it so hard for like a lot of, you know, Black children to be successful? I can tell you right now. Do you know how many times I was told I'm white because I speak with elocution and diction? Like, by white people and non-Black and Black people. Like, it's cultural. Like, we have a culture of holding each other down, and non-Black people have adopted this as well because they realize it's a great way to gaslight Black people into staying stupid. Like, they realize, oh, it's super effective. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be very mindful of like what messages that we send to people when we start to like eat our own for being successful, because that's essentially what's happening with Deion, is he's getting eaten alive for doing what's best for him. And I just don't think that's right. You know? So that's on that. That's what we got about that one. I am finishing up my ornaments. So, hey, please stop. My dog is crazy, you guys. Like, he's a lunatic. Chase, people are allowed to be in the hallways, okay? Like, you don't own the hallways. I promise you. My dog is crazy. Oh boy. What else did I want to talk about today? I might have to cut some of this out. What did I want to talk about? I forgot what I was going to add on to this today. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with Mr. Deion. Okay. I want him to be successful. I want a lot of Black people to be successful. And I think, you know, even, you know it's bad when Shannon Sharp is out here calling people out for the same thing. Like, it's bad. I watch Undisputed because you guys know I do like sports. I do love me some sports commentary, so I watch Undisputed all the time. And even Shannon Sharp, like, because, like, if you're honest with yourself, you know what's up. Like, you know what's happening. We know what's happening. And, you know, we can sugarcoat it all we want and be like, yeah, but, you know, he said he was going to be there. And it's like, nah, we're the only people who are expected to stay in poverty forever. Everybody else can move on up, and everybody else is praised for, you know, it's always us. No. How dare you? So yeah, you guys should watch that. From Shannon Sharp actually made some excellent points, and you guys know I'm not the greatest fan of Shannon Sharp, but you know, even a clock is broken. Wait, what is the phrase? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, kind of thing. So there's that. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm gonna put some finishing touches on, add some more. I got a lot of silver in there. I'm gonna put some silver ones over here in this region. I've got like 3 more. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but I should be talking. Okay, like I'm gonna say this about Kanye West. Kanye West needs therapy. Like, no, he doesn't need therapy. He is unwell. Like, that man is not well. And it's actually like sad to watch, to be honest with you guys. It's sad to watch because it's like that man is like ruining his life, and he's just he's unwell. And I will say this though, just because someone's unwell doesn't mean they're not telling you the truth. But like, again, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So it's like, but yeah, he is not well. And honestly, you guys, I can't believe that there are Christians defending Kanye. Like, He is out of line, y'all. He is out of line. Like, he is out of alignment. He is out of order. That brother is, he needs help, right? And like, we can't just, you know, be like, oh, he's a man of God. And like, yeah, sometimes men of God need help too. Sometimes men of God need therapy too. You know, a lot of times they do, right? And so like, we have to be honest about what's happening with that guy. Like, he is not, you know, there are some fries short in the Happy Meal at this moment, and we have to like just acknowledge that and be like, okay, you know, let's get this brother some help, because that's really what we should be doing, right? Okay, we've got to get some more ornaments on here because I feel like I'm a little sparse. Get some more going over here. So I got one more package, and then we're done after this. Like, we're done. I got these orders from the Dollar Tree because I have a feeling this is going to be my last Christmas in this apartment. So I'm not really like, I'm not married to like any of these things. I'll get glass ornaments when I get into a house. Oh, what else? Oh, you guys. Candace Owens lost her mind the other day and said that Nick Cannon with like 18 children by like 12 baby moms, she lost her mind the other day and was like, he is an example of what, oh my gosh, I have to insert the clip somewhere. You guys need to Google it. He is such a positive example. I was like, what is happening? What? Yeah, Candace Owens lost her mind the other day too. And she said that about Nick Cannon. And I was like, we're going crazy. We're going crazy. The community is going crazy. And I think it was funny to hear her say that, because I'm like, aren't you miss like conservative values, fathers in the home, like families, right? Nick Cannon is not creating families. He has a mailman mentality from the slave days, which is drop my sperm off anywhere, and then, you know, like he's not positive. What are you talking about? I was shocked and appalled. I was like, girl, what are you going through right now? Yeah, so Candace Owens said that about Nick Cannon. And she was like, I've talked to him. We agree on a lot of things. I'm like, there's a lot of pandering happening right now. And I don't think it's acceptable. Like, I just don't. I don't think it's acceptable. Like, what are we doing, you guys? Oh my goodness. Okay, I think my tree is almost done. It's almost like too many ornaments. You know? I feel like there is such a thing. It's like too many ornaments. Yeah. Too many ornaments. Yeah. Losing our minds, friends. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like lit up, the tree. Now I still need to get a tree skirt. I'm kind of late on Christmas decor because my life has been crazy busy. So I'm kind of late on Christmas decor. What do you guys think? Here, let me. You guys know that song? Right there. So yeah, there it is. I'm gonna light it up for you guys so you guys can see what it looks like. Let me see. Let's see. turn the lights off. Does that matter? Anyway, I think I might need to get a few more lights. Yeah, here it is. I don't know, it's not the cutest, but I'm gonna fluff it up and then I'll show you guys what it's like when I'm done. I've got to add a few more ornaments, and I've got to add the ribbon too, and I'm gonna have to add a couple more lights onto this too, because it's not giving Christmas, you know. It's giving Scrooge. It's giving it's giving Nightmare Before Christmas, you know. It's not giving. Yeah. I need to add one more string of lights, which I'm gonna have to go to Target and see if they have any more, because I got these lights from Target. So I have to add one more and then put some more ornaments down here. Let me see what it looks like on the other side. Oh. Huh. No. We'll fix it. I gotta fix my tree. I'll show you guys when I'm done, because I've got to fix my oh, that's not the right side. I've got to fix my lights again. And just kind of put them on to see how it looks. I've got to do one more round on the tree. And then I think it'll be what I want. Yeah, I'm going to do one more round on the bottom. All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. This was like a 30-minute video. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.